So, welcome to another great episode of Women Who Lead. I'm your host, Teresa Palacios Smith, and I'm excited to conclude our NextGen Leaders, our series with a powerful lineup of women shaping the future of real estate. I'm hoping everyone has had a great summer so far. And this month, we're actually celebrating Women's Equality Month. And I'm just so excited because I just watched the movie Suffragette, which is about Britain's first group of activists who focused on women's rights to vote. And these women, along with Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, were trailblazers. And as I look at our upcoming elections, I can only say how far we have come and to give thanks to those who set the path for us. And as I check out today's guests, I also see how these dynamic members of the ReThink Council for Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices are igniting change through innovation and dedication. And I love this quote: "Youth is the engine of the world, and these leaders are driving the industry forward at full speed." So grab your cafecito and join me for an inspiring conversation with these four trailblazers, rounding out the series. And I know you've been watching because this is the third series of the ReThink Council, is Julie Colleen. And Julie is with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Select Properties in O'Fallon, Missouri. Julie embarked on her real estate journey in 2000, eventually becoming her company's marketing manager. And I think it's interesting that you, in 2017, Julie decided to transition into sales. She has branded herself as the Show Me Home Real Estate Team. And I also found it so exciting to hear that you grew up on a Christmas tree farm. What fun, Julie. That really is. She's also a collegiate athlete and is a devoted wife and mother of four. I don't know how you do it.
Lots of
Chelsea,
coffee.
exactly right. Chelsea Link. Chelsea is with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Midwest Realty in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, one of the areas that I have yet to visit, and I'm hoping one day to get there soon. And she's been a top producer since her 2009 start, right after earning her degree in business administration and management, and a true testament of how she does customer service. As I love that 80% of your business comes from client referrals. And your greatest priority, I heard, was, aside from real estate, is creating memories with your husband and 5 children. Okay, so are y'all trying to compete here? Like,
She
because
wins.
we're all
She
crazy.
wins.
Oh my God. So Sarah Rothstein of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Florida Network Realty is a top producing agent in Northeast Florida since 2016. She's very passionate about real estate and ranks in the top 5% of Berkshire Hathaway agents nationwide. She specializes in guiding clients through real estate endeavors, whether they're first-time homebuyers, investors, or sellers. And she is a mother of 2 as well. All right. Cena Taylor from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Indiana Realty has been guiding clients through Indianapolis real estate since 2015, and her background as a teacher for 13 years. And it's so funny because so many teachers get into real estate because I think they love, right, the organization, all the customer service, the problem solving, and all the education that you can do that you bring from that past experience. And I love that you've created a new team that is made of former educators. That's very cool. She and her
There's 6 of
husband.
us.
Oh, wow. All of you
Our
teachers.
teachers. Yeah.
That
Well,
is
there's 7 of us. 6 are former teachers. Yeah.
that's very cool. And she and her husband are parents of a toddler and fur baby, which I know keeps you both very busy. So welcome, all of you. And I like talking
Thanks.
about your backgrounds and also that you're parents, because I think sometimes that's what makes this such a dynamic scenario, and that real estate does give you the flexibility of being able to be, to be present with your children most of the time. It's hard to finagle and manage all that. But my first question, and we'll ask about that in a few minutes too, is, so I like to know how you all got it started in real estate, and what about your market, and what's your business production? Like, for example, if you're on a team, and what typically is your price point in your market. And I'm going to start with you, Sina.
Yeah. So as you said, I'm in Indiana Realty. So our market is the metropolitan Indianapolis area. My team and I focus mostly on the north side. So you also said I was in real estate for education for 13 years. I am the type of person I always want to be busy, and I had nights and weekends free. I had just finished grad school and I needed something else to do. So my former team leader, I asked her if she needed help with real estate. We've known each other since middle school. And I said, would you like some help with real estate? And she said, well, you have to be licensed for it. I said, okay. So I decided that real estate was what I was going to do during my summers, my evenings, and my weekends because I was married but no children yet. And I fell in love with it. So I taught for 5 years while doing real estate, did them both, and I had no personal life whatsoever because, as you know, both occupations don't have an end time. And so in 2018, I decided to do real estate full time. And then in 2021, I decided to grow my own team. And so now I have a team, there's 7 of us ladies, and we just work together and just love it. We focus mostly on the north side. We like Hamilton County. That's kind of where we live. We, like I said, we'll do anywhere. Our average price point is about 440 in Hamilton County. And then me personally, I'm around 410, so almost to that county average. And then last year we did about 53 million and then 151 units in production. And so it's just neat. I love the team aspect and just getting to lead these ladies and guide them and make sure that they have the resources that they need and help where I can assist. So
Very impressive, Sarah. I love it. I love that you had that background and decided that hey, this is really what I am passionate about. Sarah, how about you?
Yeah, so I started out or previously worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I was self-employed and I was doing work for a company where we would cold call to hospital inpatient pharmacies and develop relationships with people, with the buyers, and try to sell to them as an off-market vendor. That industry and the niche that I was specifically in started changing drastically around 2014, 2015, and I just got to where I hated it. And but I was self-employed. I worked my own schedule at home, and I really liked that. So I kind of got into real estate, just looking for another job that would have similar kind of terms. Real estate always, I purchased 2 homes at that point in the past, and it just seemed like something that would be fun and interesting, and that would offer me maybe some type of similarity to that the lifestyle I was already living. So that's kind of how I got into real estate. And I am in Northeast Florida. So I sell Jacksonville. I live in a suburb of Jacksonville in a town called Fleming Island. So that's kind of my bread and butter, but I sell a lot in Jacksonville, all the way down to St. Augustine. And my average sales price is 500,000.
Very cool. And I would have never thought pharmaceutical because I've always thought that people in that business in that industry are usually salaried. So very neat that you decided this was something that you really like, that entrepreneurship mindset, right? That you have to have in what the role that you all have. So Chelsea, how about you?
So I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I started right out of college, actually, in real estate, and my reasoning for it was kind of what you were talking about earlier, was to have something that could be, flexible enough to where I could still be present for my son, who was then a baby, who's now about to turn 16. So, but it's been so great for, even though, yes, you're on call all the time, it is nice to have the flexibility and make your own schedule. So I kind of started and never looked back. So our average price point is right around, I would say, 350, and that's mine as well. We're, in comparison to a lot of markets, fairly affordable, which is great. We have a lot of people actually move in from both coasts, or all around, just for cost of living and things like that. So yeah, it's been great. I think I'm gonna stick with it.
Well, I can't believe you have a 16-year-old. That just baffles me, just like blows me away. You don't look like it. Julie,
well, thank
you. How about you?
Yeah, so I actually started in the industry in 2000. I was in college and was an agent's assistant doing marketing things. Um, I ended up getting my degree in criminal justice, but never pursued it. I loved the people that worked in the industry, and it's actually still the same people I'm working with now. So I went from that agent assistant to actually being an employee of the company, and worked my way up the ladder to marketing manager. And I was kind of at the top and wasn't fully satisfied, and was like, you know what? I do the marketing for all these agents. Why don't I just do it for myself? So in 2017, I took the dive into 100% commission, scared. But I matched my income the first year and just kind of went from there and haven't looked back. I absolutely love it. Every day is a new challenge. Um, I service the kind of metro St. Louis area, a little west of St. Louis, into St. Charles County, which is where we are in O'Fallon. And my average sale price is about 410.
So very cool that all of you, and by the way, my daughter, that was her degree, criminal justice as well. And she's also in real estate, although she's in the title side, but net, she kind of,
I bet she uses it though. I bet
she
she
does,
uses her
she does.
every once in a while. I get to, and it's exciting.
I love it. Well, all of you, I know you mentioned marketing, and we're going to talk about how that is such an important piece in today's, real estate arena. But one of the things that I think is really important to touch on is the fact that we are undergoing a lot of changes right now in our industry, which are good changes, right? But also scary changes. So what are the trends that you or strategies that you're using to adopt, and to adapt into these different changes that we are experiencing, and that may really put you in a competitive edge over others who are kind of scared to death? And I'll just go back to you, Julie, to start off this.
Yeah, I think our company does a fantastic job of educating. We have about 2 classes every week that the room is packed, and just going over the forms, breaking down the lines, word for word, and really just discussing with our peers, each other, like, how are we going to explain this? And everybody has, different opinions on how to explain it, but we all kind of walk away with something that's comfortable for our personality, I'd say. It really just, I personally, I love the change. I'm good with it. And it, for us, it's just communicating better with our clients, which is fantastic. If that's going to help them understand this process better and be, more confident in their decision from start to finish, then fantastic.
I think that's great, a great point of view. Anyone else that wants to jump in on this one?
I was just going to say the same thing about our company's training. Our company has been offering a lot of different education courses. Our national local association offers those as well. And even if it's the same subject over and over, I mean, some of the changes that we have going on, like, I just can't hear it enough. And you hear different perspectives and different approaches to it too, which I think is really valuable. And then also listening to podcasts and just what other agents and other brokerages are talking about in other parts of the country has been really. Demi Burgess has done a lot of podcasts and has given a lot of information about how to handle some of these conversations that are coming up. So that's been really helpful for me to stay on top of things.
Shout out to Jimmy. Actually, it was
Yep.
just on the phone with him yesterday and telling him that I watched this podcast, on Chat GPT, on the override piece where NAR, it was just blew my mind. So he's done such a great job as well. And I know Tom Ferry also talks about the fact that we all need to be practicing, and practicing, because that's how you get better as a physician. If you had someone that was doing surgery and they weren't practicing and learning and understanding how they could, voice our value, which we haven't done a great job doing, in the past, explaining the process for our consumer on what we actually do for them. I think that's just been very enlightening. So
Yeah.
again, shout out to both Jimmy and to Tom Ferry for all the work they do. So we're going to shift on leader. We're going to switch over a little bit to leadership. And one of the things that I like to learn is And Sina, I'll start with you. Can you share a defining moment in your career that really kind of solidified your passion for leadership in real estate? Because that's a big part of being chosen to be part of the ReThink Council, because there are hundreds of applications that we get every year for those opportunities. And the people that are selected because of those are the things that we see in them.
Yeah, so I have always loved helping other agents. Once again, coming from an education background, helping and teaching people is just my passion and has been my whole life. So I was helping newer agents in the office, whether it was with open house strategies, whatever it might be. They weren't on my team. I was doing it for free. Just I wanted to help people. I have been lucky to have great mentors throughout my 9 years in real estate. And then I was on another team, like I had said, and I was helping those new agents. And I was leading since 2018. I was leading a lot of those team trainings. We used to do like the ERS with Jeff Cohn and stuff from Omaha, and I was leading those for my team and everything. And then finally in 2021, one of my good friends, she was going to join real estate. I told her that, if she joined with Berkshire Hathaway, I would make sure that she had the best training ever. And so I just decided in 2021 that it was my time to start my own team, because I wanted to make sure that the agents that were starting with me had the great training, that I would help them and everything. So I would say that defining moment for truly being what I would say the official leadership was in 2021 with that. However, I was always trying to help agents in the office beforehand. So that was kind of, just lighter leadership there.
And what a great decision that was to really, for you to see that in yourself, because a lot of times we don't. And so that was great. Chelsea, how about you?
I mean, kind of going off of what Sina said, I think it's real estate is different than maybe some other careers where you're more naturally working with, coworkers or things like that, where you just have more teamwork and maybe support sometimes. Whereas real estate, sometimes you feel like you're kind of doing it on your own too. So I feel like if you can find these avenues where you can, collaborate and teach and have those kind of interactions in real estate, it just makes such a difference. And I think it kind of lifts us all up and helps us all, because when you know that other people are dealing with the same stuff you are, or you're able to think through those kinds of things with someone else, it just it makes what can be sometimes a more like lonely profession less that way. And I think it just helps everyone. So
Well, and I think that the think tanks and the masterminds that you get to be part of really helps you in not just developing yourself, but realizing the beauty of the business that we're in, that really homeownership is creating wealth for individuals, whether it's a first-time home buyer or it's a minority. It really is the biggest investment that we're ever going to make in our life. And to have someone that really understands the process and can explain it to you and really guide you through it, I think is so critical. What have y'all and this is for all of you. I'm going to throw this question to every one of y'all. What has been the biggest benefit of being part of the ReThink Council think tank? And I'll start with you, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm glad you wanted to start with me, because I had just what you were just talking about a minute ago. I've had a lot of great takeaways from ReThink, and it's helped me tremendously, really step up my game. But like Chelsea kind of said, real estate is lonely, and Teresa, you were just kind of saying how we struggle, and it helps put things in perspective. I know last year in 2023 was a more challenging year for myself. The market was changing a lot, and my production was down. We went from several years of just better and better and better, and a lot of growth. And then last year was kind of a rude awakening for some of us who hadn't been in real estate for that long. And I remember we were sitting together at Explosion last year, actually, the ReThink Council was, and we were all just talking about how our markets were and how business had been. And I was pretty down and a little embarrassed about, how my business had been going, and it just wasn't where I wanted it to be and what I was used to in 2022. And but almost everybody around the table was struggling in one way or the other, and you could just tell that it was just making everybody, like, it brought a lot of encouragement, and just was nice to know that I wasn't like alone. and seeing these people in all different areas too, not just like your local market that maybe you're struggling in, but in everybody's market, it was difficult. So it was nice to have that collaboration and mindset, and just with all these, great people and big producers, to know that you're not alone. So I really have enjoyed that part of it.
Oh, I think that's great. And we do have to give a shout out to Vince Lacey, because y'all are all today at the Explosion event in Omaha, Nebraska, and how exciting it is that you are together and learning. And I know y'all have a meeting with the ReThink Council as well. So, another great advantage of being part of this think tank is really to learn and also be able to be camaraderie, like have that, okay, yes, we're going to get through it, right? This tough time, we're going to get through it. How about you, Julie?
Yeah, I will piggyback Sarah. Like last year's think tank was amazing. And what's so nice about Rethink Council, and Teresa, I will give you a shout out for your podcast here. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like you don't hold back. We are all real people, and trying to do the best that we can. And so to be able to be open with people about that, as well as hey, this is really working great in my market, and being able to share that, to have that mindset, just like Sina said, just to be able, like, hey, here's my material, make it your own and go with it, and if I'm going to save you some time from recreating the wheel, perfect. And everybody does that, so it's really great to get that mastermind. I think outside of your market, to mastermind with people outside of your market, because everybody has so many different ideas, and it may not be the right idea for you, but you can take it and adjust it to your market. So
I think that's a great way to look at it too, because also sometimes, although I know Vince is unique, Vince, I'm telling you this because I know he has all his companies mastermind together and all his agents do that. But sometimes that's hard to do in your own marketplace, because some people are not as willing to share their successes because you're competing with them and they see that. And so I love the fact that with this gathering of eagles and talents and uniqueness, that you are able to learn something that you can take to your market and not feel like you're competing with the person that gave you that information, right?
yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Teresa, I'm going to add to that.
Yeah.
It's sometimes like you don't have the people who are in your market, and so that's what the like convention and even going to Explosion, meeting those people there, and then be like, hey, let's mastermind together, and then kind of grabbing people from there and creating a group from that is awesome.
What a great point. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right. Sina, how about you?
Yeah, like the lady said, it's neat to hear what everybody else is doing, where we are in our production levels. I'm kind of like Sarah. Last year, 2023 was not my best year. And when we had our first rethink call in December, everybody else said that. And I was like, oh, wow, everybody else struggled in 2023. So it made me feel so much better. The other thing too is just hearing how wonderful the agents that we are with in Rethink are, and their strategies and stuff has made me want to level up and work harder. So we were in Jacksonville in May, and I came home with 15 pages of wonderful notes, and I said, this is what I'm going to do this summer. Like I have to step up my game, so I'm much more on their level. Just that growth mindset that we all have and learning from each other. It's wonderful. So the benefit is to meet others, learn what they're doing, and then also to challenge myself to be even better.
Well, it's so, so honest, because it's really when you surround yourself with other talented, smarter people, then you're like, oh, I gotta level up. I gotta get my game,
Oh yeah.
It makes you be better yourself. Right, Chelsea? How about you?
Yeah. And I mean, to add what you just said, it is, it's so fun because I feel like we're, this is a little cheesy, but almost like a little family now, because everybody's just real and you know what they're saying. Nobody's trying to put on a show or impress anyone. It really is just like collaborating and supporting. And yeah, that explosion meeting last year, it was like we were all pretty emotional actually too. Like that was kind of a therapeutic session for me at least. And so I think yeah, just to have those people in your world in real estate, it's just it's been so great to me.
Well, and it's great because now you have a group too that you can share mind like it and experiences that you have that connects you for life. Because you'll probably be, with these people, you'll have friendships that you will honor once you're
Yeah,
done with the Rethink Council, right?
for sure.
For
So,
sure.
can anyone that wants to share an experience that you had where it was so difficult either to overcome because of your age, or preconceptions that they might have bias wise in your leadership role, and how were you able to handle it? Whether it was, gaining a listing where you're competing with someone that had more experience than you, because that's the one thing that y'all all just shared that a lot of people don't realize is that it wasn't just always easy, right? You have tough times too, and you have to deal with failures in order to get successes. So, anyone want to share a story?
Well, I started in real estate when I was 21. So I did feel like the age thing was you have to, I mean, I felt like I had to work twice as hard just to prove myself to clients. Cause yeah, I was young, I looked young. They assume you don't have the experience that maybe others do and you don't. So I did feel for several years that I was kind of constantly trying to prove myself despite people, wondering how young I was. But I guess that's in a way good at the end of the day, because you do, when you're forced to excel or perform or, overcome those things, it does make you better. So, yeah, it can be a tough thing to, people's snap judgments on those kind of things to figure out how to overcome them. But I guess it's those things that make you
It
better.
makes you better. It makes you better because you're
Mhm.
like, okay, you've gone through the rejection, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and it just, improves upon it. How about you, Julie? Because you switched from marketing in a company where you were really helping everyone. And how do you have to say, well, my role now is realist, because that's hard too.
I actually used that to my advantage and it worked. But I do have one little story of probably the biggest eye opener for me was going on a listing appointment to list a friend's house. And I knew I was a good agent, but I did not portray that to them. And in fact, didn't even like do a presentation. I just started taking measurements because I had this listing. And at the end of the day, they ended up choosing a different agent. So for me, that was a huge eye opener of, hey, don't assume anything when you go into this. Like you need to give everybody the same service. And that was a big eye opener for me.
Gosh,
Huge.
that's a great, because you do assume that your family's
Mhm.
going to use you
Yeah.
Right.
and that your, best friends are. And I don't remember who it was that I was at a course on, and the presenter gave me the best piece of advice. He said, anytime you talk to anyone that is a friend and you're talking about real estate, you say, okay, now I'm going to be serious. I'm going to put my real estate hat on because
I like that.
like we're friends, but we're going to talk business because
Yeah,
this is
that's
my
good.
business,
I love
and I
that.
thought, what a great way to tell clients and
Yeah.
family, and I'm going to put my real estate hat on,
Yeah.
and this is my business, and I want to help you with that and making sure we secure the best
I love
offer, the
that,
best,
Teresa.
right?
Yeah.
So I never ever forgot that one. All right, let's talk about technology. I love technology. And I'm just like I said, I'm like a sponge with Jimmy Burgess and with all his guests that he has on because I really enjoy learning. And so, what have you embraced that has really like been an eye opener in your real estate business, or in the way that you do social media or Facebook or videos that really has been a game changer? And I'll start with you, Chelsea.
Well, I'm terrible at technology, but I hired someone who's really, really good at it.
That's a
Um,
thing you learned, right?
yes, yes, and it was well worth it. She's wonderful. I mean, I don't have an assistant in the form of like what you would think of, a typical like administrative assistant, but she does social media, she does my marketing, she does my like database and past client, like the cute little touches and everything. And so yeah, my solution to that has been hire the person who does it really, really well and makes me look good. But I think it's just, yeah, when you're consistent with those things and it has a you have a good presentation of it. I mean, it's huge. It gives you credibility to take those tools and make them work for your business.
And Chelsea, did you, because I know this is a question that people want to know if they're at different levels in their business, did you hire her as a full-time employee? Is she just independently contracted to so many hours? How did you make that decision?
Yeah. So I mean, and I, I obviously I didn't hire her when I first got into real estate. That was that was an addition in the last it was about 3 years ago. But she's 30 hours a week and she's salary plus commission. So I mean, it's almost full time. And I just, you keep finding things like, oh, let's do this now, let's do this. So I keep her busy. But yeah, it was, I definitely obviously had to work up to being able to do that. But
and that's an important factor because a lot of people don't know when to make that transition of hiring someone. And that's a big piece of becoming a leader, right? When you decide, okay, I got to really not do this myself. I've got to hire someone because the cost, the return on my investment is going to be larger than me doing it on my own. So I think that.
And I was very nervous about it. Like I really was, because yeah, you're responsible not only in a world where you're on 100% commission, you're not just responsible for your own income, you're responsible for someone else's now. But yeah, I think some of those, calculated risks can really pay off, because I do believe all the things. I look so much better now because of her. So
I love it.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Melissa Greer, I know y'all all probably have heard of Melissa Greer's number when she always talks about that, hey, I just let them make me look good because that's not my space. My space is where I'm working with clients, and that's where my passion is. But let's talk, Julie, how about you?
Yeah, so I will give a shout out to Jimmy and Rajiv. Their podcast on AI.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's like I listen to it every week and take notes on it and try to go from there. Honestly, the ChatGPT is my personal assistant with everything. It started small as the adjust my marketing remarks to now I mean I use it for just about everything. It's always open on my desktop. So I am a step behind Chelsea. That's actually my goal for the end of the year, is to hire somebody to take care of all that stuff, because it is tough. It's tough to keep up with all of it in your business. So we'll be talking about that more, Chelsea.
And time consuming.
Yes.
Yeah. So to piggyback off of Julie just a little bit, where she said it's tough to do the social media and it's time consuming. And, like Chelsea said, she hired it. I think that's where we have all of these programs out there and we have to find the ones that work for our personality and our likes. So if we like doing chat GPT or AI, then we do that and we hire somebody else. So I always hear, hire somebody to do your weakness and you do your strengths. And the other thing that I like to tell newer agents too is find what works for you. Don't worry about, like, there's always going to be a shiny object out there.
Yeah.
There's so many, and you can get overwhelmed with those and consumed by figuring them all out. Find out the basic that works for you and continue doing that. If it finds you success in your business, then do it, and build on that and become the expert of that program. So whether it's social media or AI or working your CRM with automated emails, whatever it is, just do what works for you and your personality. But so my social media, it's so. I had an intern, a college intern this summer, one of my former students, and she just went back this week. And so now I'm like, okay, now I gotta step up my social media game even more on my own. And it might be one of my goals for next year to, like Chelsea did, hire someone, and Julie's going to hire someone to do that, just because make it a little bit better. But yeah, so that's where I feel about technology. Find that program that really works for you and build on it and become that expert. And then if something doesn't work for you, then hire it out.
I think that's the best advice because we all do try to, and you hear from this person and that person, but you just need to, there are riches and niches. I always say that, right? And if you're able to get a niche and really follow it in social media and really learn it, you can share it with others. And that's how you become, the expert. Sarah, we'll round it off with you.
Yeah, so I agree with what everybody said. I kind of dabble a little bit with, there's so much AI is kind of intertwined in all these different apps and tech IT, things that we use daily. So I play around with a lot of those. I use ChatGPT a lot, obviously, for writing listings and getting information to put out there for marketing. But I also like Captions is a popular little app that has AI technology, even just talking about like eye contact with people. And like when you're making a video. And then another thing that I like to use, or I found very helpful, is RPR has AI feature in it, and it helps you, you can pull up market trends if you want to talk about, the latest, 30-day market activity in June in your city or area or neighborhood. And it has like a write a script, AI feature. So you can, if you wanted to send an email out to somebody to tell them what the market's been like, where they live, you can, have it, in 2 seconds, write up a whole article for you, makes you sound like the market expert. So that those are all,
And what's
AI.
the name of that one?
That's on RPR. I forget what
RBR.
RPR stands for, but it's a
I like that.
national.
That sounds
We
like
have
a
that
great.
through our MLS.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
or through
Gotcha.
or maybe through NAR, I'm not sure, but they have all kinds of great data on it. But that AI feature just goes that next step to help you understand and comprehend and put out. You can write scripts for video on it about the market stats and stuff. So that's been really helpful. Kind of levels up my game, I feel like.
All right. I love that. That's a new one that I haven't heard. So RBR. So I've learned something new. I love that. So can you all, anyone that wants to talk about this, and really I'd love to hear from all of you because I think being that it is Women's Equality Month, that there are so many people that have really impacted us in the past to lead us to where we are today. So what piece of advice or support did you receive that really has impacted you personally and changed either the way you looked at yourself or the way you did business, or that you thought, wow, this is something I really learned a great deal from? Sina, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I'm actually glad you picked me for this one because my owner, Craig West, one time, he said, we can't control any of the outside factors that are going on in the business or in the world, but all we can control is ourselves and how we're going to interact with those outside factors. And that was really a game changer for me because we had just gone through COVID. Then 2023, he actually said this in January. So then 2023 was a really slow year. And all of us that were used to having these high numbers, we're not seeing those high numbers. And I just really liked that. And I was like, yeah, I can control myself. I can control what I do and how much I work and when I work. And so that's what I can control. And then everything else will just fall into place as much as possible. And so I liked that. And then one piece of advice too that I would have for newer agents, and this is kind of it, is make sure that you work on your business and not just in your business. And that's kind of that control factor. You're controlling everything and you're controlling your your income in the future if you're always working on your business. But those are the two best pieces of advice that I've probably received over the years. You control yourself and then work on your business and not just in your business. Because I think when I first began, I had peaks and then I would have low seasons because I was always during those peaks, I was really focused in my business and not working on the business, contacting my clients and my sphere and looking for that next sale.
Oh, Craig West. Shout
Yeah.
out to him. Great words of wisdom. Chris Stewart used to always say, control the controllables. And I love that all the time. He's like, okay, that makes sense. Sarah, how about you?
Yeah, I was just saying, at our Berkshire Hathaway conventions, even not even the past year or two, but we've been talking about disruptions and distractions in the market for a long time now. It's one thing after another. And I think just like Sina said, focus on what you can control and really dig down to basics. Our job is all about relationships. And I think if you really focus on that, you're going to get business and things are going to continue. People are going to need to buy and sell houses. So I think just not getting carried away with distractions and letting that overcome you is so important.
That's so wise. How about you, Chelsea?
I think I try to remember that, our success is up to us alone, and our business and our life is, it's what we make of it. And so even with, 2023 being tough, because that was that was not my favorite year in real estate either. And all the NAR stuff and all the, negativity and buzz amongst agents about that. It's not going to help you. Like, it's not going to do any good to, worry and complain. It's okay. We have changes, embrace it, figure it out. We have a different market. Okay. Embrace it, figure it out. So it really is just, it's up to us. And a lot of times it's not any, big secret magical fixes. It's, doing little things consistently, and having a positive attitude about it. And if it is what it is, then okay, how do we deal with it? So
Great.
that helps me when I'm in a funk.
Oh, that's great. Julie, any advice that someone gave you or helped you through these tough challenges, times that you want to also share?
I think the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is it was a game changer for us. In the beginning of 2018, our company decided to adapt to the ninja philosophy and ninja selling, I should say, where it's like we are not salespeople. We just truly care for people. And, as long as you treat people correctly and don't try to sell the house, and like it takes the sales out of it all. Once we develop that philosophy, and I think that was a game changer, and that it takes you through the peaks and valleys of real estate as long as you stay consistent with it. I think it's amazing, and I'm proud of our company for making that transition, and we breathe it every day, throughout the company. So
That's a great ideology. It's pretty much what they've done based on, because I've not done ninja myself. It's like that go-giver mentality. I don't know if you've read The Go-Giver. It's really not about selling. It's really about helping. And once you do that, you're able to really change your perspective and helping others, right? Because then they want that law of reciprocity is to help you as well. All right. It's tough being a mom and it's tough doing this business. And my daughter just had her baby. I always talk about, he's the cutest thing ever. I'm so in love. 90 days. Thank you. And I feel that I really, it brought memories back because I was in real estate too when they were little and all the challenges there is. So how are you, has it gotten better? How do you manage things, especially today with having all of this balance? And is that even exist and work and professional life? Sarah, you can tell me because you have an 18 and an 8, a big age difference.
Sometimes some days are better than others. I try to be purposeful and be present in the moment, which doesn't always happen either. But when we are together, and when I do have that time where we're making family time, I try to make sure that, put away the phone and really pay attention to family. I also try to say no or put limits in my business. At times, there's a lot of times where I don't say no, and I never want to tell whenever a client calls and wants to go do something. I always want to act like, I always want to be able to be present and, be active and meet their needs as quick as possible. But sometimes, we have to think about our own needs and make sure we have put parameters on our hours and our time and stuff to make time for family. So it's a struggle on the daily, but always trying to improve on that.
I think that's Sina, you have 5. I'm sorry, not Sina, Chelsea.
Chelsea does.
You have 5. So I'm looking at, So how do you handle it? That's got to be mind blowing. And you
Well,
too, Julie, with 4. I mean, I had 2 and I couldn't handle it. So
I was laughing when you brought this question up because I'm the mom who forgot about high school orientation on Wednesday. So that's the start we're off to. But yeah,
Okay.
it's like what Sarah said. You just try to do your best, and some days you feel like a really great winning mom, and other days you just really don't. But yeah, I've also tried to get better about if I'm doing something with the kids, like don't be staring at your phone 3/4 of the time. And again, sometimes that's so hard, but you know, people can wait 30 minutes or, you know, whatever it is. So I just try to remember that and yeah, keep on top of as much as we can. And but more than that, just make sure that they, you know, that they're getting your love and attention. You know, I mean, that's what they want. And so um I I I think it's just one of those. Balance is something that's always been hard for me. Like, how do you, I don't know how you ever perfect it, but I think the important thing is you keep trying.
that's so true. Anyone else, Julie or Sina, want to add in?
One thing I learned is priority. So I used to have a mindset like if I had a task, I had to get it done then. And I can't sleep if I don't have it done, especially if it's for a client or whatever. So I've started the mindset a couple years ago, especially when I had Kessler, he's 2.5, that if it's a priority and needs to be done now, I'll do it now or tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be the next morning. It's still going to be there. And I think that has helped me with boundaries. And then also like present, like you guys have been saying, my word for the year is present. Just to make sure that I'm trying to focus on Kessler, that time with us as much as possible. And then one other thing, I remember in 2019, I was working nonstop and my husband actually called my mentor and said, I think you need to talk to Sina about balance. Because I'm seeing her that she's working on all of this. And one little tip, it was a small tip, but Julie said, Sina, when you get home, it's you and Scott. You finish any call or text that you have to do or email in the driveway, and then you walk inside and you're done with work for an hour or an hour and a half, and you put your phone aside. And I started doing that for a few weeks and it changed things. Like I wasn't walking into the house on the phone. And so it gave me that boundary, works here, and then I'm moving it to the house with Scott to have that family time there. But it's hard, as we all know, to balance work life and family life, whether you have kids or you're married or not, whatever it might be. It's tough.
Well, he made that. I can't believe he's like, I'm going to call the mentor and say,
Yeah. Yeah, he just knew I wouldn't reach out to her. And she was like, we need to have, yeah, she was like, we need to have a mentor talk. We need to have one of our lunches. And I mean, I'm glad he did, but I
yeah,
think our
that's
friends and significant others see that we're constantly working and yeah,
well, and
but yeah,
our
I'm glad he did.
children and our spouses then mirror that, right? They mirror what they see. So I think that's really important that you think that when you're coming into your home and creating that environment that's so important. And Julie, now I have a question for you, Julie, because I know you're married, your husband is of Mexican heritage. Do you speak Spanish at home? ¿Hablas español? No.
Poquito.
Poquito. I just had to ask that question. That's my family's Colombian, so yeah. So I just wondered.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I can pick it up. If you're talking about me, I'm gonna know.
My mom could always do that because she didn't speak English. So, all right, Julie, any other advice that you want to leave
I
our
think the only thing everybody kind of touched on the family side. I think the other thing to remember is that your clients, they hire you because they love you, they trust you as not just their realtor, but as a person. And it's okay to share with them that, hey, I have kids, we have soccer, we have whatever,
Mhm.
and I'm going to be available as much as I can, but I'm going to be transparent with you. So I may give you, 3 options for times that we can meet or whatever it is. So I think just being transparent with your clients is very respectful, because more than likely, this world is crazy. More than likely their schedule is just as chaotic, and they will be understanding of that. And if not, they might not be the right client.
I love that because that is so true. When I think when COVID hit, you started to see parents, kids would come into the room and people were having business meetings, and it really made everything so authentic and genuine. And it really normalized hey, I'm a businessman person, or but I also have children, and that's a part of who we are, right? All right, I can't believe it. We're wrapping up. Last question that I'm going to ask all of you. And this one is one that I ask everyone. So I ask my first question is always the same, and then my last one is always the same. And it's always about great reads or podcast. And I want you to end it like if you have a favorite quote that resonates with you. That is really kind of how I like to end it, in a real positive and also educational moment. And we have, seems like a lot of educators on this call. So I'll start off with you, Sina.
Yeah, so I don't listen to many podcasts that are business related. I like personal books, like just fun books, non-professional stuff. But one of my favorite podcasts that is real estate related is Hustle Humbly. It's two ladies from Louisiana. It's very lighthearted, but it's also serious, and it talks about great topics. And I've learned a lot. They're in their third year, and I've been listening to all of their episodes and have learned so much from them. So Hustle Humbly is my favorite podcast for real estate. And then my life quote is grass is greener on the other side, but you have to water the grass to make it green. And so that's just kind of like, I have to work. You know, if I want something, I'm going to work towards it. And I heard that one time in a movie that you have to water the grass to make it green. And probably since I was like 20, that's been my quote that I live by.
That's a new one. I haven't, and it resonates with me because I'm actually got new sod, and I cannot believe how much time I have to spend on that, watering it. But it is
Yeah.
turning green. Finally, I've got my neighbor's grass. I love it. I love
Yeah.
that. That's a great one. How about you, Chelsea?
So my favorite, I mean, I guess it's kind of a personal life and real estate relatable book, but it's The Power of Moments. I don't know if any of you have read that one, but it's basically how to make everything, whether it's like in life or in a real estate transaction, like how to give it extra meaning, how to make it special, how to like look at it in a way that just to give more meaning to something that might seem like nothing. So like real estate wise, an example would be how do you make a transaction for a seller that could otherwise be stressful, or how do you make it stand out, or how do you make yourself stand out in that, and just like little touches, little things that people are going to remember, that they're not expecting, that they're not used to, and it's often so small, but it's just like the meaningful things that people will remember. So I just think that's applicable in every area of life. So that's one of my favorites for sure.
The Power of Moments. Is it a big read
Yeah.
or is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Power of
it's a thicker book, but yeah,
Okay.
it's just inspiring because it's like it's basically about making the most of everything,
I think that
and
I will
making an
definitely look into that
experience.
one because that's not one
Yeah,
that I've heard
yeah,
before.
it's great.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Sarah, how about you?
So I am not a huge book reader, but one book I have been reading recently is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And I like books that have things that you can implement into them. It's about making small intentional habits and growing those and setting goals, and seeing how little steps that you take can make such a big impact. My favorite quote is, people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And again, I love that. I love that people, we're in a relationship business, and I want all of my clients and friends and family and everyone to know that I do care about them, and I'm not just trying to sell a house to them. So that's always resonated, and I always try to keep that in the back of my mind to
One of
make
my
sure.
favorite quotes, one of my favorites, and actually got to see and meet Darren Hardy a couple years ago, and I love that book, The Compound Effect. He
Yeah.
talked about it and what it really made such a difference in your business. So thank you for recommending that one, and then I'll round off with you, Julie.
Yes. So there's a lot of great books out there, but I actually am a big podcast person, and I'd say one of my favorite podcasts is from the Ramsey Network, and it's Entre Leadership. And it is all about entrepreneurs and their business, and they actually call in with struggles they may be having, and Dave Ramsey gives them solutions and like works through it live right there. And it's, even though it may not be real estate related, almost every call in just makes you think differently about your business and how to handle others within your business. So that's probably one of my biggest favorites.
Oh, I think that's
Yeah.
great. I have not heard
Yeah.
that podcast, and there's nothing better to me to kind of expand your mind
Mm-hmm.
is to listen to other things that you normally wouldn't listen to that's real estate related, because
Yeah.
it really helps you understand your clients and the struggles that they have, but also bring a perspective that you might have not thought of in your own business. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that one with us. All right. Well, as we wrap up, I want to thank you all for being on the show. I just learned so much, and I'm really grateful to each of you and feel so good about the future of real estate because of your involvement and leadership in it. And I want to thank our audience for joining us for this special episode of Women Who Lead. And today we had the privilege of hearing from these remarkable young women who are redefining leadership and paving the way for future generations. Mark your calendars. I always have to remind everyone we've got a next show coming up on August 28th on our Diversity Matters series, which is our series where we talk about why diversity matters and matters of diversity. And we're going to be featuring inclusive moves, where we're going to explore how inclusivity is transforming the relocation industry with some insights from some of the most forward thinking leaders in that space. So relocation world. So if you are interested in that, I think it's going to be a great conversation. And then we'll be back here on September 11th with our next Women Who Lead segment. I'm actually going to be out in California doing a Women Who Lead being a moderator of a panel there with our Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices California Properties Impact Council. So we're going to have some guests that will be participating on that show live. So as we continue to celebrate our achievements and stories of women making impactful changes in their fields, I'm excited about all of the future of real estate and also leadership. Stay connected with us by following us, sharing our page, and your support is so crucial in spreading the message of empowering voices across all communities. Thank you again. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and with passion. Bye-bye, everyone. And thank you all
Thanks for having us.
being
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.